Hey guys, good morning. The big day is here. The first game of the final has arrived, right? It's not literally a final, but it feels like game one of a final. It's today, huh? Man, we've waited a long time for this matchup, this new clash between Flamengo and Palmeiras. A really tough game. Flamengo is still without their main player, without Arrascaeta. Yeah, it's another game without Arrascaeta, right? Another game. But Pedro is on fire and Paquetá is back. We might have Eric Pulgar returning to the starting lineup, right? There's still some doubt about that. I'm going to give you Flamengo's projected lineup. Remember that we bring all the game information in the morning video, right? In the 9 a.m. video, a little after 9 in the morning, we're bringing another video here. Yeah, in this video, I'm going to bring it to you. Man, things got heated. First, we agreed. You'll see it there. C Sports program here on TV Connect USA. I invite you to subscribe to TV Connect USA. Look, the show really heated up, huh? An argument between me and Nito do Opina Porco. Things got intense, right? The argument was spectacular. He was complaining about the refereeing, and then you said, if I showed there, it was supposed to be a Palmeiras player. Something always happens first, but they don't notice it. And I showed him that the officiating assigned for today is biased. Right? But subscribe there. I'll leave the channel here on Collab, right? TV Connect USA. And you'll also be able to follow C Sports in full. Make the C, right? C for TV Connect. Yeah, look at that. I'll show Flamengo's likely lineup before I show the clip from the show I participated in. Yeah, but I want to remind you, I'll also leave the link to our picks channel in the pinned comment and in the description. Man, go check it out now. There will be only a few spots. Look, I won't be sending the link every day. I'm going to open the channel to new members. So man, look, it's a new channel on Telegram. We're preparing it. Tipsters will be involved. Professionals. So I'll leave the link here for you to access. And soon we start releasing some cool stuff there. So go ahead and access our tips channel on Telegram right now. It's new, man. And this one is going to be amazing. It's going to be the best. Man, it's going to be spectacular. A fantastic team. All right? Go ahead and access it if you've already checked out the others. You're going to love this one, okay? I'll leave it here in the pinned comment and also in the description, along with all our other sponsors. So check this out. The probable Flamengo lineup: Rossi, Varela, Leo Ortiz, Leo Pereira, and Alexandro Everton Araujo or Eric Pulgar. Jorginho, Lucas, Paquetá, Carrascal, Samuel, Lino, and Pedro, okay? Gonzalo Plata should be available to come on during the match. And now our beef with Pina Porco's grandson.
Look, Neto, I'm going to start off a little more politely. I'll let Paparazzo talk about the general overview of what he expects from this Saturday's match between Flamengo and Palmeiras at Maracanã. Paparazzo, I'm going to get really close to you here. What's up?
I know why she wants to get close. She just wants to stand by the Flamengo crest. No.
I'm going to stand in the middle. Look, I'm going to stand in the middle.
Is that good like this? Ah, now it's fine. Now it's fine.
Look, now the crest looks nice. Look, wow, you have 2, 3, and 4.
See back here, look, nobody dies owing us 4 Libertadores. I know you're a Palmeiras fan. You don't really like that.
I understand. Tell me about the game.
So, Gabi, first of all, let me say, Neto is a great friend of mine, right? A great partner, really good guy. Yeah, I'm really happy to be here doing this show together with Neto from Opina Porco. Yeah, man, we've already done a lot of live streams together, so he's a real partner, a guy who has incredible impartiality when it comes to commenting. Obviously, he's a Palmeiras fan, he's passionate. He has his own bias, but he still manages to be impartial. And that's part of what his channel is about. Yeah, Gabi, first of all, I wanted to thank you for being here on C Sports. You've also become a friend of mine here in Orlando, so for me, it's a huge pleasure, right? A shout out to everyone at TV Connect USA. Yeah, I wanted to say the following. I don't think this game is a final, okay? It's not a final. It's actually the first game of the final. There are 2 finals. I think the biggest, the real decision, I don't know if Neto agrees with me, will be, yeah, with 3 games left at the Allianz. Why? Yeah, which isn't called Allianz anymore, right? Over there at Palmeiras home. Why do I think it's not at Maracanã but over there? Because with 3 rounds left, whoever wins, depending on the situation, won't have much time to catch up. Now, for example, for the World Cup, after the break, there's the whole second half and maybe 1 or 2 more games for you to recover. There's still a lot to happen, right? So I think it's important. Yes, it's a direct clash, but I don't think it will decide the championship like a lot of people are saying. I see Palmeiras fans really desperate, saying they have to win. It's a do or die game. They have to beat Flamengo. Otherwise, Abel has to be fired. I think they're overreacting. I think it's an important match, okay? For this moment, but a lot can still happen. I think it's still very early. It's just the first round, okay? Yeah, for me, the big final is the second game, because the date for this second game was set with only 3 rounds left until the end. So that's how I see it, okay? I don't think it's the end of the world for either side if they lose. Palmeiras is ahead just by a little, but if Flamengo wins, they move ahead of Palmeiras on points dropped. They're ahead on points dropped, if that's even a thing, just to show that Flamengo can move ahead by beating Mirassol to make up for the postponed match. Yeah, now, if Flamengo loses Palmeiras gets a small lead, but nothing really that can't be caught up. It's possible to catch up in the second half, even in the first few rounds, but I think it's about the rivalry. It's the first big match between Flamengo and Palmeiras. After that, the Libertadores final, which was a very hard-fought final. We joked that Palmeiras didn't take a shot on goal, but it was very hard fought. That ball from Tigrinho, right? From Vitor Rocha. From Vitor Rocha, if Danilo hadn't cleared it there, it would have been another goal from Danilo, right? It was going towards the goal. It was on target, right? So people say a lot that Palmeiras didn't have a shot, but that ball was really dangerous and it could have been. The game could have had a different story like it's been with Flamengo and Palmeiras. Even though Flamengo has had a big advantage in recent matches, maybe in the last 10 years, we've always had a very balanced matchup, right? It's hard, except for one or another game from Gabigol's era. Maybe that other 3-0 win Flamengo had too. But there are very few games where we see one team really dominating and running over the other, right? Even in the Libertadores, when Palmeiras won, it was with a goal in extra time after a mistake. When Flamengo won, it was with a header, right? From Danilo on a corner kick that arguably shouldn't have occurred. So, yeah, you get a sense of how balanced this matchup is between the two teams that have won the most titles this century in South America.
Yeah, but Palmeiras fans were a little traumatized, right? After last year's Brazilian championship. I don't know about you, Nito. I'm going to walk over to your side now, to our greener side of the set, to talk directly with Neto, because I want to know what Paparazzo just said from his perspective. For you, it means a lot, but it's still not a title decider just yet. The ball's with you. Well,
first of all, I want to thank you once again for having me here, for this opportunity you're giving me here at CS Sports to be able to talk a little about Brazilian soccer, bringing Brazilian soccer to everyone from Florida, right, to everyone in the United States. So thank you. Paparazzo Rubro Negro, a great partner of mine. We've already done some live streams together. It's always a great pleasure to talk about soccer with him. Very good. And let's get into this chat right now. About tomorrow's game. I don't really agree with Gabriel, with Paparazzo, because we basically have 2 finals. I consider them 2 finals. Even when we look at the picture from last year's game, from 2025, right, from the 2025 Brazilian Championship, we start to see that the context was really like that. Both teams were very evenly matched. And in the end, Flamengo were champions with 3 points ahead of Palmeiras. In other words, if in the 2 games in the head-to-head matches, Palmeiras had drawn one and won the other, we would have won the 2025 Brazilian Championship title. So I agree that with Paparazzo that the second game might have greater importance depending on the scenario. But that doesn't take away the importance of tomorrow's game either, because this game can matter. It can add points for the next match we'll have at the end of the second round. So, in my view, these are 2 extremely important finals that can shape the title race and decide which of the 2 teams wins the Brazilian Championship. Either Flamengo becoming back-to-back champions, or Palmeiras this time taking the title and being crowned champions in 2026. All that's left for us Palmeiras fans is to hope for a positive result tomorrow.
yeah, it's a different moment, let's put it that way. Everyone is anxious about the World Cup too. Some players, we're going to get into this, are holding back. Is it that they're holding back because they don't want to get injured before the World Cup? You talked a lot about that here, but on the other hand, Flamengo is coming in at full strength. I want to ask you first then about what Neto said. I'm going over there behind the Paparazzo. Guys, I'm loving this event here. I come to one side and they tell me to go to the other. Gabriel, so do you think there's this feeling that the players are holding back? After all, half of Flamengo's team is at the World Cup. Are they afraid of getting injured? Do you worry about that too?
So it worries me a lot. I think Abel Ferreira even talked about this too, right? About the concern of, man, putting yourself in the player's place, right? He even talks about this. Put yourself in the player's place. Honestly, I think this planning by the CBF was really poorly done. It should have been scheduled for after the World Cup. There was a way to stretch it a little. Adjust the calendar, reduce the state championships. They have to reduce the state championships. Yeah, man, it's unacceptable. Or they could have waited. Look, the CBF has to do the following. Just 2 teams reached the Copa do Brasil final. It's impossible to imagine that you won't be able to find a date to adjust the schedule with only 2 teams playing the final of the Copa do Brasil. Think about it. There are 7 dates. From the round of 16 onwards, there are 7 dates that the team no longer has. From the moment they're eliminated, Flamengo has already been eliminated and so has Coritiba. This Flamengo versus Coritiba match could easily be postponed to a Copa do Brasil date. The CBF would postpone Palmeiras' match, postpone any other team that needed it, postpone everyone who had more players called up, and would wait for the possibility of one of these teams being eliminated. If they weren't eliminated, then in the worst case scenario, you play during a later international break. But at least you say, look, we're going to move it from here at this moment. If we can't move it, we'll have to schedule it during a future international break, right? And then it's no longer such an urgent World Cup situation and all that. We might even be able to avoid calling up your players. I don't know if Neto will agree with my idea, but it's an idea that works. You just have to adapt the schedule. The problem is that they're very stubborn, you know? It's just like that, you know? They want to do things their way and won't fix it, devaluing their championship. Their own championship. Flamengo suffers most, though Palmeiras does too. For example, Flamengo has 4 players on Brazil's national team. So there are 9 Flamengo players called up. Obviously, some of them are going to hold back. Obviously, Flamengo is going to struggle against Coritiba. Coritiba may not be strong, but Flamengo is missing 9 starters. Clearly, Flamengo will struggle and is already at a disadvantage, which hurts the championship. For example, Flamengo, as we know, is without Arrascaeta. I'm wearing Arrascaeta's jersey. He's an idol and a star. Flamengo is without Arrascaeta. He's going to play in the World Cup. Maybe in the first or second game, he's still recovering. Flamengo is not at full strength. Flamengo lost its main player, right? He's injured. And besides that, 9 other players have been called up. So that's a lot, Gabi. It's a lot. Not 9, sorry, 8, right? Because Arrascaeta is already included in those 9. But it's a lot. There are 9 of your main players. Yeah, now I think that's true, okay? Players, especially in these games, so close to the World Cup. There's a game now on the 30th against Panama at Maracanã, which is a pre-World Cup friendly. Nobody wants to take any risks. So now Leonardo Jardim has already said something different. He said that a player who holds back has a higher chance of getting injured than one who goes in all out. So I don't know if that's really going to happen. We get anxious about it, okay? To worry Palmeiras fans, there's someone who wasn't called up and wants to prove himself. Pedro. He already scored a great bicycle kick in the last game. Pedro is eager to prove to Francelotti that he should have gone. And there's still the issue with Neymar with his calf problem. If Neymar gets cut, who will go? Is it João Pedro? Is it Pedro? Nobody knows. But Pedro wants to prove himself. Unlike everyone who's already at the World Cup, he's not there and wants to show what he can do so that if someone gets injured, he'll be the next in line.
By the way, Pedro is the one who scores against Palmeiras, right? He likes to do that. I was watching the screen. I said, who scores the most goals against Palmeiras?
Pedro? No, right now it's Fluminense.
Fluminense.
Besides being a former player, Pedro is the biggest nemesis of Fluminense. In this game, if Pedro scores, he ties, right? He'll become the biggest nemesis because...
It's 8 goals against Palmeiras and 9 against Fluminense.
Exactly.
Yeah, we have to be careful. But I've already seen that, Nito. I'm going there now. I'm going to do my Olympic walk here in our super studio to move over to my green side because I've already seen you talking about it, especially since the fans have been giving Manila a hard time. They didn't like the last defeat in the Libertadores at all. Do you think this thing about them holding back is because of the World Cup, especially our foreign players, right? Claco Lopez, what do you think about the boys going to the World Cup?
Look, on this one, I'm with Paparazzo too, you know? We're on the same page for now. Because it was very clear in the Libertadores game now against Cerro that the players, they clearly held back. The guys, I think, like, as a team, they're so strong that they thought at some point the ball would bounce around and go into the goal, or we'd leave here with a draw and everything would be fine. The problem is that in the middle of those 90 minutes, a lot of things can happen, right? Defensively, Palmeiras failed, ended up conceding the goal, and we left with that disadvantage. And let's say that the fear of getting injured in a possible call-up for the World Cup ended up causing a burden for the Palmeiras team in a very important competition, in a competition where we have tradition. And now we'll have to carry this into next week to go after that qualification. So I agree when Paparazzo talks about the calendar issue, about us needing to adjust the schedule, not just from the CBF, you know, Gabriel and Gabby, but also from CONMEBOL and the other competitions. Because right now, with just a few days left until the World Cup, the call-ups are already happening. This ends up taking away the athlete's attention and focus, and it creates that sense of apprehension. Because when you see a colleague getting injured and possibly missing the call-up for his country, you go into defensive mode, and now, tomorrow, we have such an important derby, right? A national derby. It has already become a national classic, Flamengo and Palmeiras at Maracanã. How will the teams be willing to handle this? How will the players be on the field knowing that some on Flamengo's side have already been called up, others might still be called up, and at Palmeiras we have the same situation? So I agree that the CBF, CONMEBOL, and the organizations in general should organize the schedule better. That way, we can avoid situations like this. Because the ones who lose are the teams, of course, the clubs, and the fans. They end up not seeing that beautiful show everyone expects when Flamengo and Palmeiras play at Maracanã, you know, in a truly competitive way. Tomorrow we might see a more apathetic game, a more scrappy match, one that's more stopped and less fluid, right?
Except for Pedro, I think. He will be the referee for this match. Courage is the word, boys.
He was already chosen, right? He's really brave to make calls for Palmeiras.
Look at that, right?
No, negative.
Negative? The one who called it, the one who called the penalty for Juventude, for Palmeiras, the Juventude player only touched the ball. Yeah, there were other penalties in favor of Palmeiras. There was that one, Paparazzo. He didn't call the penalty on Bruno Henrique when Thiago Silva nearly broke his leg late last year. Look at that.
Now I want to see the discussion.
Hey, Paparazzo, who did you want? Wilton Pereira Sampaio, the no side?
You wanted Ramon Abate, Abel, right? You wanted Ramon Abate, right, Abel?
No,
I agree, look.
I agree with the CBF's choice. I think Davi Lacerda is the most neutral name in this because, look, Ramon Abate Abel, Flamengo fans would complain because they say he helps Palmeiras, but there were also Flamengo games that Ramon refereed. Abel awarded penalties to Flamengo. Wilton Pereira Sampaio was the referee in that Maracanã match, the one with the little push, who literally gave a little push against Palmeiras, let's put it that way. So then we have Rafael Klaus, but he can't be chosen because he's from the state of São Paulo. Then you have Duranco, or a referee who is, let's say, not very experienced, right? Someone who isn't chosen very often. Which is Davi Lacerda. I think the choice was good.
For God's sake, Davi Lacerda is the guy who calls the most plays in favor of Palmeiras, man. Are you crazy? Are you crazy? You're like someone from São Paulo, now you're acting crazy? Man, calm down.
Calm down. Hey, wait.
Let me tell you something. Look, man, hey, Gabi, you just have a habit.
I'm just listening.
All these referee decisions go for Palmeiras, man. They all go for Palmeiras. Who's on VAR?
Who's at the bar? VAR? Neto, who's on VAR? Exactly.
Exactly. Look here. Do you know who's on VAR? Paparazzo.
That must be Tracy, the one who always... Tracy?
Caio Max Marques.
The one at the Maracanã.
Last year. Caio Marques. You know, Caio, look, I'll refresh your memory. Look at Caio Marcus. Wilton, you can go on. Both arms are extended and he doesn't bend his arms.
Nothing at all.
For the push.
And you have to remember Jorginho?
Remember Jorginho pushed?
In the Libertadores final, there was a tackle on Flamengo before too, by Rafael Veiga. In that game, there was also a tackle. There was a tackle before.
No, but here's the thing, man.
No, Gabriel.
Wait, and Pulgar in the Libertadores final?
But before that, Palmeiras committed an even worse foul on Rafael Veiga. No.
But hold on, Rafael Veiga wasn't even watching the play, just moving with the game?
You're going to use that excuse, Pulgar?
He caught him in the shin. It was a really unfortunate play.
Veiga should have been sent off earlier. You guys only see what's good for you. That one is good for you.
No. That play wasn't a sending off for Veiga, no.
I'm not even going to get involved. I'm trying to stay impartial here. I'm not acting as a referee. Yeah, that's it.
No, you're not going to get involved, are you?
I'm telling you, it's not just that. Look, I'm staying quiet. I'm acting as a referee.
Nobody jumps in. Here, things are about to get rough.
Hey, Paparazzo, I agree with you that the review should have happened. Yes, but I don't think that play with Veiga was Veiga.
Two plays, the play with Veiga. No, I'm going to get it right now. No, but I'm going to get it right now. I'm going to rub it in.
Pulgar's play was when play was stopped.
No. Pulgar's play is only good for you guys, man. Look.
Pulgar's play was with a dead ball.
Besides that,
the referee didn't call for a review. It was a deliberate play.
He should have already set it aside here.
That play by Eric Pulgar, hey Paparazzo, if we really analyze it, it's a play that deserves a red card, and on top of that, a suspension.
No, put the screen here. No, now, hey, Gabby, put it on screen for God's sake. Hey, I'm going to ask for God's sake, Gabby, for God's sake.
I can see. I'm just listening.
Look at this.
Pulgar's was a...
It's a game situation. Look, Pulgar's was also no.
But no, wait, but it didn't even catch him cleanly. Hey, Paparazzo.
What's that?
Show the side angle. Just a slight graze.
What's that, man? No, bye.
Did you see it in motion? Look at it in motion.
For God's sake. No. Is Paulo Sergio there? Is anyone in position?
Everyone's here.
No, for God's sake. No. He doesn't like soccer. Impartial. Paulinho, Sergio, you don't even like soccer. Look here. Is this a red card or not? No, but is it? More still, it's cheaper on the shin. Is it a red card or not?
Look, he's talking.
He said it didn't make full contact, Paulinho. See the difference here.
Look, are you sure that's not AI?
Are you sure that's not AI?
It's not. If it's not AI.
It caught him full on. That's exactly how I see it, just like the Paparazzo said.